Hi, welcome to OCar. My name's Chris Cannons, and this is going to be the first video on my channel. Our channel. I'm just going to be doing a video on installing this steering wheel wrap from East Detailing. You've probably seen ads on Instagram for them, and I'm just going to see how it goes. I'm just going to do a basic tutorial on how to do it, and then we'll see what happens. So when you open up the box, there's your steering wheel wrap, a little installation guide, and a few tools that you'll need for doing it. Now, the first thing that it says to do is install all of the adhesive tape that basically just holds it onto the wheel. You do stitch it on, but obviously you need to hold it on in some other way as well. It's got little labels here saying front and back, which is going to be handy once we do get it in the car. I'm going to shoot this bit inside, which is just installing the tape, and then we're going to head outside and install this on my actual car. Now, you can get it in a variety of different ways. Your car, all sorts of different material. I just chose to go for a basic suede and perforated leather. I think that's what will look best with the car. I got a light grey stitching because the stitching that's already in my car is actually light grey. The leather seats are stitched together with light grey. So what I'm going to do is fold it out backwards so it's inside out. And we're just going to put double-sided tape along here and along all the edges, just so when we go to put it in the car, you can fold it around and it'll stay somewhat in place while we're stitching it together. I'm going to try something a little bit experimental that they sort of don't mention. And on these bits here, which is where the gets tucked in, where it gets tucked in under, where the airbag sits, I'm going to put some thin strips of the adhesive double-sided tape, just so when I do tuck it in, it just stays tucked in. I know that the stitching will pull it around, but I just want that little bit of peace of mind when I am taping it in, that it'll, when I'm installing it, that it will just stay in there. So let's get on to this. Opening up our little box of goodies. Ooh, here's our adhesive tape. It comes with a thimble. I think I'll probably be alright without the thimble for the adhesive tape bit. You need a pair of scissors. There's no point, trying to tear it with your teeth or your hands or something, We don't want to be doing that because really, you're just probably going to do some damage. So it seems to say in the instructions that you want to cut it into kind of little sections. You don't want to do one big line. So that's what I'm going to do because that's what it says. Well, that's what the image looks like anyway. Now, on the instructions, it says don't tape near edges. What I found out is that edges means the edge of the steering wheel. So it actually means this center bit, because I suppose you don't want that lump there. So I'm just doing lots of little sections. It shouldn't be too difficult. Alright, well, now that's over with. I just had to cut straight to this. You didn't want to exactly be just watching me put every single little bit in. But basically what I've tried to do is I've tried to put, if you can see, just one there and then one kind of diagonal to it, and so on and so forth. I have with these little bits that it doesn't say in the instructions not to tape, so watch to the end of the video to see if that actually works out or whether I think that was a mistake. I've just cut in half down the middle strips of tape and taped them onto these little tabs for when they do get tucked in. See, just all the way around. Nice and simple. So the next bit that it says to do is get it the right way around, take it down to the car and just kind of put it around the steering wheel. And then remove all of the little tabs, well, all of the little backings, and kind of wrap it around. Then you can start stitching. So I suppose what we now do is we head down to the car. All right, so now we're in the car. I brought down my little box with all of my equipment in it. The steering wheel wrap. So obviously we're going to want to pay attention on here. Are you? Front and back, F and B. I think you can probably work out that yourself, but so this is the front, and this will tuck under. So this will tuck under here. Yeah. It is tight. Far out. I mean, obviously it's got to be tight. It's got to wrap around the steering wheel, but oh. Right. Okay. So you're going to want to find, obviously this seems pretty self-explanatory, but you're going to want to find where it lines up. Probably the easiest bit for me to line up is going to be this bottom bit. Now I've got these two little lines in my steering wheel here on the bottom, and I'm imagining if I get those to line up, I've pretty much got it lined up. So kind of the leather has been joined here on there, and then this is where the suede and the perforated leather joins on there. So that should be a pretty good spot to line up, I should think. Yep. Yep. So the next phase is we'll take off the adhesive, well, the back side of the adhesive on these areas. Just, I think we'll go up this way and then we'll go up the other way and see how we go. It's quite hard to get the adhesive off once you've quite hard to get the backing off, sorry, once you've put this on the steering wheel, but it's doable. Yep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these adhesive bits that are opposite each other, and then I'm going to try and make them join over the original stitching in the middle. So just going to do the two closest adhesive bits to the center of the steering wheel, and then see if I can get them to join up nice and even in the middle, so that when we do start stitching, we go, oh, hang on, so that's going to need to move a bit more that way. Yeah. Now to me, that looks just about right. I'm not going to lie, this may have been easier if I perhaps had taken the wheel off first. But I can still, and immediately into this, I'm going to say that having these little adhesive bits on there that I said the instructions said not to do, The instructions were completely right. Okay, now it's time to get my needle and thread all sorted out. So the general guide is that you need about 3 times the length of the area that you're going to sew. Here's my needle. Here's this little thing which you can use to poke this all in there, but I mean, I don't think you really need it. It tucks in pretty easily all by itself. I'm not particularly experienced with sewing. Gonna need quite a lot, I reckon. Alright, so it's actually been a little while. I got sick as I recorded the end of the last video and just, it was a bit of a nightmare. So yeah, I probably had to cut to a time lapse quite quickly. Sorry about that. But this is the end result. I'm now at the car with the steering wheel completely on, and look, I mean, it turned out pretty well. I don't have any idea what I'm doing in terms of this stuff, and it could have been so much worse. But the instructions were nice and straightforward, and in all honesty, I think anyone could do it. I mean, if I can, you definitely can. So let's just have a quick look at it, and I'll walk you through, you know, the little bit of troubles I did have and all of that. So here it is. I mean, it looks absolutely spectacular. It looks so much better than the factory steering wheel. It blows my mind. So there was a few little bits that I had trouble with. This bit in here is, there was a small flap that I just couldn't work out what to do with, so I sort of had to just stitch over the top of it. I think that's just specific to my steering wheel. It's just a little bit weird. The AMG wheel might be slightly different to the standard Mercedes wheel of the time, but it really doesn't make that much of a difference. On the back here, it's the stitching. I didn't manage to stitch all the way around, but again, I think that's probably user error. And it's not that big of a deal. It's just like I end up playing with those little flaps on the back as I'm driving. But really, I mean, the fit and finish is actually excellent. I'm so impressed. And it doesn't move at all when you go to drive. It's really, really tight and nice. So yeah, I mean, far out. I can't believe how good it looks. For, I think it was $80 that I paid. That was including shipping. You know, it could have been so much more than that for what it is. I mean, it took me about 4 hours to put on in the end. I mean, the GoPro ran out of battery before I could finish the time lapse, so you know, that's how long it took. But at the end of the day, what I really want to say here is that was 100% worth the money. That was completely worth the money. I mean, I'm so impressed with the quality, and the suede and the leather both feel really nice when you're driving. It's just excellent. It's just so good. The little adhesive strips were great. I did say, as I was going to put it on, in the video, I mentioned that those little strips that I put on those edge bits were ill-advised, and they were. And the only other thing I'd change is in here, I didn't put any adhesive in there, and that is probably where you need some adhesive, because it sort of doesn't stick on there so easily. So yeah, even though you've pulled it tight, it doesn't quite follow the lines of the steering wheel here, and there's just a little kind of air bubble. But honestly, you don't notice it when you're driving. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This is my first video. I really hope you enjoyed. In the time in between, I've actually made some O-Car shirts, so I'm not going to be selling the Polo. At some point in the future, I'll get it together and I will get some just like crew necks or V-necks, maybe both, in this like a similar red, in the ochre red, and I will sell those to you guys, but as for right now, it's just these polos for me, and that's it. Alright, well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.